wasn't consumed, and all written by the very finger of God. This isn't just an ancient story, it's a saga of liberation, faith, and the birth of a nation, and it all starts with a cry for help. Hundreds of years had passed since Joseph brought his family to Egypt. Now, the Israelites, his descendants, were a vast people, so numerous that a new Pharaoh, who didn't know Joseph, saw them as a threat. He enslaved them, oppressing them with harsh labor, hoping to crush their spirit and control their numbers. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied. In a brutal decree, Pharaoh ordered every newborn Hebrew boy to be thrown into the Nile. But one mother, Jochebed, defied the king. For 3 months, she hid her baby boy. When she could hide him no longer, she placed him in a waterproof basket and set him adrift among the reeds of the Nile, trusting God with his fate. The baby's sister, Miriam, watched from a distance. And who should find the baby? None other than Pharaoh's own daughter. She felt pity for the crying child and decided to adopt him, naming him Moses, which means to draw out, because she drew him out of the water. In a beautiful twist of fate, Miriam cleverly arranged for Moses' own mother to be his nurse. So, the future deliverer of Israel was raised in the very palace of the man who wanted him dead. As a young man, Moses saw the suffering of his people. One day, he witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. In a fit of rage, Moses killed the Egyptian and buried him in the sand. But his secret didn't stay hidden. When Pharaoh found out, Moses fled for his life to the land of Midian. There, he became a shepherd, married a woman named Zipporah, and settled into a quiet, simple life for 40 years. It seemed his destiny was forgotten. But God had not forgotten his people. Their cries reached heaven. One day, while tending his flock near Mount Horeb, the mountain of God, Moses saw an incredible sight, a bush on fire, but not burning up. As he approached, a voice called out from the flames, "Moses, Moses." It was God himself. He had seen the misery of his people in Egypt and was sending Moses to deliver them. Moses was full of excuses. "Who am I to go to Pharaoh? What is your name? What if they don't believe me? I'm not a good speaker." God answered every doubt. He revealed his sacred name, "I am who I am," and equipped Moses with miraculous signs. His staff would become a snake, his hand would become leprous and then clean again. And for his speech, God appointed his brother, Aaron, to be his spokesman. So, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh, delivering God's message, "Let my people go." Pharaoh's heart was hard. He scoffed, "Who is the Lord, that I should obey him?" Not only did he refuse, but he also made the Israelites work even harder. The stage was now set for a divine showdown. God would demonstrate his power over the gods of Egypt through a series of 10 devastating plagues. First, the Nile River, the lifeblood of Egypt, turned to blood. The fish died, and the water was undrinkable. Yet, Pharaoh's heart remained hard. Then came frogs, swarming the land, even in Pharaoh's palace. He begged Moses to stop them, promising to let the people go, but once the frogs were gone, he went back on his word. This pattern continued. Gnats, then flies, tormented the Egyptians, but the land of Goshen, where the Israelites lived, was untouched. A plague killed Egypt's livestock, but not a single animal of the Israelites died. Boils broke out on the Egyptians. Then came the most destructive plagues yet. Hail mixed with fire rained from the sky, destroying crops and people. But still, Pharaoh refused. A swarm of locusts devoured whatever the hail had left. A thick, oppressive darkness covered Egypt for 3 days, a darkness so profound it could be felt, but there was light in the homes of the Israelites. After 9 plagues, Pharaoh was still defiant. God announced one final, terrible plague, the death of every firstborn son in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh on his throne to the firstborn of the prisoner in the dungeon, and even the firstborn of the livestock. But God provided a way of escape for Israel. This was the first Passover. Each family was to take a perfect lamb, sacrifice it, and paint its blood on the doorposts of their home. When the angel of death passed through Egypt, he would pass over the houses marked with blood. That night, a great cry rose up in Egypt, for there was not a house where someone was not dead. Broken by this final, devastating blow, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron in the middle of the night and begged them to leave. "Go, serve the Lord as you have said," he cried. And so, after 430 years of bondage, the Israelites walked out of Egypt, not as fleeing slaves, but as a liberated nation, laden with silver and gold given to them by the terrified Egyptians. But their journey to freedom was far from over. God led them not by the shortest route, but by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, toward the Red Sea. As soon as they left, Pharaoh's grief turned to anger. He changed his mind again. "What have we done?" he fumed, gathering his army, including 600 of his best chariots, to pursue them. The Israelites were trapped, with the sea before them and Pharaoh's army closing in behind. They were terrified, crying out to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die?" Moses, full of faith, declared, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Then, as instructed by God, Moses stretched his hand over the sea. All that night, a strong east wind blew, and the waters divided, creating a path of dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. The Israelites walked through the sea to safety. The Egyptians charged in after them, but once the Israelites were safely across, Moses stretched out his hand again. The waters crashed back, swallowing the entire Egyptian army. Not one of them survived. On the other side, the Israelites, led by Miriam, sang a song of victory and praise to God, their mighty Savior. Their celebration, however, was short-lived. The reality of the desert set in. They ran out of water and food. They grumbled against Moses and God. But God always provided. He turned bitter water sweet at Marah. He sent manna, a mysterious bread from heaven, every morning, and quail in the evening. He brought water gushing from a rock at Horeb. Then, at the foot of Mount Sinai, 3 months after leaving Egypt, God made a covenant with his people. The mountain was covered in smoke, thunder, and lightning, as God descended in fire. He called Moses up the mountain and gave him the 10 Commandments, the moral foundation for their new nation, written on 2 stone tablets. But while Moses was on the mountain, the people below grew impatient. They convinced Aaron to build them a golden calf, and they worshipped it, declaring, "This is your God, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." When Moses came down and saw their idolatry, his anger burned. He shattered the stone tablets at the foot of the mountain. He burned the calf, ground it to powder, and made the Israelites drink it. God punished the people, but Moses interceded for them, pleading with God not to destroy them. It's in this moment we see one of the most incredible conversations in the Bible, where Moses asks to see God's glory. God, in his mercy, proclaims his own goodness and grace before Moses. He then graciously provides a new set of tablets and renews his covenant. The rest of the book of Exodus details the intricate instructions for building the tabernacle, a portable sanctuary where God's presence would dwell among his people.